Hi, I have a question actually from my mother who's going to be 65 next March. And she lives in Ohio, which has a very high unemployment rate. She has a GED, and she's always worked in food service. She's currently unemployed, just got approved for Section 8 housing, gets Social Security and food stamps. And she wants to know, when can she get a job, and what's going to happen to Social Security and Medicare?
Well, first of all, where does your mom live in Ohio?
Mentor.
Mentor, what part of Ohio is that?
East side of Cleveland.
Okay. Tell mom hi. You get points for being such a good daughter and using your question to tell me what's on her mind.
Oh, you have no idea.
My mother-in-law lives at home, and so in the White House, so I've got some ideas. First of all, let me talk about Social Security and Medicare, because this has obviously been an issue that has been discussed a lot in the press lately as we think about our long-term finances. You can tell your mom that Medicare and Social Security will be there for her, guaranteed. There are no proposals out there that would affect folks that are about to get Social Security and Medicare, and she'll be qualifying. She already is starting to qualify for Medicare, and she'll be qualifying for Social Security fairly soon. Social Security and Medicare together have lifted entire generations of seniors out of poverty, our most important social safety net, and they have to be preserved. Now, both of them have some long-term challenges that we've got to deal with, but they're different challenges. Social Security is actually the easier one. It's just a pure, simple math problem, and that is that right now, the population's getting older, so more people are going on Social Security. You've got fewer workers supporting more retirees, and so if we don't do anything, Social Security won't go broke, but in a few years what will happen is that more money will be going out than coming in, and over time, people who were on Social Security would only be getting about 75 cents on every dollar that they thought they'd be getting. And so the Social Security system is not the big driver of our deficits, but if we want to make sure that Social Security is there for future generations, then we've got to make some modest adjustments. And when I say modest, I mean, for example, right now, Social Security contributions are capped at a little over $100,000 of earnings, and that means the vast majority of people pay Social Security taxes on everything they earn. Mm-hmm. But if you're earning $1 million, only 1/10 of your income is taxed for Social Security. We could make that modification, and that would solve a big chunk of the problem. Medicare is a bigger issue because not only is the population getting older and more people are using it, but healthcare costs have been going up way too fast. And that's why part of my healthcare reform bill 2 years ago was, let's start changing how our healthcare system works to make it more efficient. For example, if your mom goes in for a test, she shouldn't have to then, if she goes to another specialist, take the same test all over again and have Medicare pay for 2 tests. That first test should be emailed to the doctor who's the specialist. But right now that's not happening. So what we've said is, let's incentivize providers to do a more efficient job, and over time we can start reducing those costs. I've made some suggestions about how we can reform Medicare, but what I'm not going to do is what, frankly, the House Republicans proposed, which was to voucherize the Medicare system, which would mean your mom might pay an extra $6,000 every year for her Medicare.
Which she doesn't have.
I'm assuming she doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So we are going to be pushing back against that kind of proposal. And that raises the point I made earlier. If people like myself aren't paying a little more in taxes, then the only way you balance the budget is on the backs of folks like your mom who end up paying a lot more in Medicare and they can't afford it, whereas I can afford to pay a little more in taxes. So that's on Medicare and Social Security. In terms of her finding a job, the most important thing we can do right now is to pass the American Jobs Act, get people back to work, Because think about it, if she's been in the food service industry, you know, that industry is dependent on people spending money on food, whether it's at a restaurant or a cafeteria or you know, buying more groceries. And if a construction worker and a teacher or a veteran have a job because of the programs that we proposed in the American Jobs Act, they're going to be spending more money in food services, and that means that those businesses are going to have to hire more, and your mom's going to be more likely to be hired.